One of the tools that I love personally, and I want to share this one with you, is something that we call core number. A lot of our clients and those who are in fundraising TV are probably already nodding, going, "Yep, heard this. I got this one." This is a way of talking to donors about how their donation is going to make a difference so that they get it immediately. So the whole premise of core number is you want to figure out what your unit of service is. So I'm going to play with an example of an animal shelter because this is pretty easy and I think everybody can understand it. So if your organization is an animal shelter and you're trying to figure out what's the smallest unit of service we have, it's probably taking care of one animal for one day or one day and night. So 1 day's worth of care, and that's going to include food, shelter, veterinary care, any training, anything else that goes in that. Okay, does that make sense to you? An animal shelter might have the smallest unit of service, 1 day and night of care. Okay, so what we want to do to calculate the core number is to start with a couple of things. We want to look at first the total expenses. So in this example, we have an organization that had total expenses of $95,000 during the year. Now, a lot of people want to try to only use the direct expenses here, and I don't want you to do that. I want you to, the easiest way to do this is go back to 2019 numbers for the year, look and see what your total expenses were, and that includes absolutely everything, every penny you spent. And then I want you to figure out what your core unit of service is. So if you break everything down, what's the smallest piece of your unit of service? So if your organization is a food pantry, it might be one emergency food box for one family. If you have an arts organization, it might be one performance for one person. A homeless shelter might be one bed for one night. Okay, see how that works? You're breaking it down into the tiniest little piece. So what you do then is you look at what that tiny piece is. And in this example, we actually started with a couple of different numbers working toward that tiny unit of service of 1 day and one night for one animal. So in this example, $95,000 in expenses for the year. They took care of 1,500 animals during the year, which is a lot. And each animal was with them an average of 14 days. So now, oh, and I should have warned you, we're going to do some math here. There is math involved in numbers and fundraising. So sorry for those of you who are not numbers people. You're going to have to deal with it. Oh yeah, Todd's got his calculator. Awesome. Okay, so if we were to multiply 1,500 times 14, that's going to give us the total number of days of care that we provided for animals during the year. I kind of worked this example a slightly different way. I took the $95,000 divided by the 1,500 animals, and that tells me that it costs $63.33 to take care of one animal for the entire 14 days it was there. Do you get that? That's pretty straightforward. Just dividing the total expenses by the total number of animals that we took care of. And then I divided that by the 14 days because that's how long they were there, so that I could figure out what is that cost per day. And it worked out to $4.52. Okay, did you get that math? Well, I'll get you. Some of you are looking a little like deer in the headlights. I should have warned you we're doing math. Okay, so follow with me in the example, and then we can help you with your specific situation. I realize that for some of you, trying to figure out that base, that unit of service, that can be a little hard sometimes. And that's an example of like, can't see the forest for the trees. We'll help you with that. All right, so here's what you do. Once you get this number, this 452, this is what you're going to use as you are inviting people to give to your organization. So now, instead of saying, help us reach our goal of 10,000, which has zero inspiration in it at all, you can say, your gift of $4.52 is going to provide a day's worth of care to an animal in need. We are anticipating 500 animals between now and the end of the year. If they're all with us 14 days, you do that math, here's how many days we need to be able to provide. So now you're putting context on the problem so that people can see their 452, that makes a difference. And they understand that, oh, that's going to take care of an animal for a day. Now all of a sudden, they're not thinking about, am I giving or not? They're thinking about how many days of care do I want to provide? And I guarantee you, if your number is low, this is a really nice low number. This is a very easy number to say yes to. By the way, anything that's about $15 or less is really easy for donors to say yes to. If yours works out to be more than that, that's okay, don't worry. You can do one of two things. You can either look for a way to break it down into a smaller unit, or you can say, it costs this much because, and then you explain why it costs so much. Okay? So $4.52, and then you multiply that times 14. Well, that's the 63.33. You're going to have people not asking themselves, am I doing this or not? They're going to decide, am I doing 1 day? Am I doing 7 days? Am I doing 14 days? Now they're shopping. Now they're just making a decision about how many days of care they want to provide. That's where you want to get people to.